Hey, welcome to Father Games. Today, I'm going to do a quick review of Nidavellir. This is not a how to play video. If you need to learn the rules for the game, I've linked that in the description below. This is just going to be a good old-fashioned review, 3 negatives, 3 positives, and I'll give my final score out of 10 at the end. So to jump right off, I'm going to start with my first positive, and that is the backstory. It starts off with this big, long introduction in the rulebook about the dwarves being at war with this dragon that's returned, and there's this whole backstory of like they've been around for thousands of years, and they used to fight this dragon, and then it's left them alone, and then now it's back again. And then the whole game builds on that. Like halfway through the game, the king hands out distinctions, and there's a different distinction for each army. As the story grows, as you know, the armies are getting produced to go against this dragon. It kind of builds the story there halfway through the game. The king is going to go check on the armies. Whoever has the most in each army gets an award. And then at the end of the game, you go in front of the king, and whoever has the best army is going to be crowned victorious and get to go have the honor of fighting this dragon. The rule book, it's such an easy game. Like the rule book didn't need to be more than like 5 pages. And it's so in-depth. Like it's 24 pages. All because of these stories that they build. Like they have a history of all the heroes. They have, just all throughout. Everything's explained really well. That's part of the reason it is longer. But this intro at the start, they didn't need. All these things they didn't really need to add, and I'm glad they did. And my second positive is it's easy to learn, easy to teach, but it also has a lot of strategy for those who are familiar with a lot of strategy games. This is such a quick game to teach. If you were to teach new players, as long as one person knows how to play the game, it can be quick and easy. You can be up and running in a couple of minutes. You don't need to really go over what each hero does. You don't really need to go over what each distinction is. You don't really need to go over a lot of things. You get your board. Whoever plays the highest coin gets first choice in the tavern. If you get all types of dwarves, one of each, then you get a hero. That's really all you have to say. And then I guess obviously the 0 coin upgrades your 2 coins in your pouch. But that's quick. You can be up and running in just a couple of minutes. But then there's a lot of strategy throughout the game where, when to use your 0 coin. Do you put your bigger numbers in the pouch so you're upgrading to get bigger and bigger coins and get whatever dwarf you want on a tavern, or do you focus only on one type of dwarf, or do you there's so many different things, and depending on what other players are doing, you may be trying to block them and stop them from getting a certain one that they want that you don't really need, but you don't want them to have it, kind of thing. So depending on what dwarves come up at the taverns, it really can change the strategy as the game progresses, and I think it's enough for anybody. Anyone who's new to the game, they'll pick up the strategy quick, but anyone who plays a lot of strategy games or a lot of games in general, there's enough there that they're still going to enjoy it. So that is positive number 2. Positive number 3 is that the game is a great value. It comes with a lot of stuff, and it's very, very affordable. It's hard to find cheap board games nowadays. I think I got my copy for something like 35 Canadian, like that. For a game that's not just a card game, that is a very good price, and the components that it does come with are very good quality, and it's just a great value overall. And then for negatives, my first negative is the card trays. And what do I mean by that? Well, they are terrible. My cards are sleeved, so maybe the extra weight maybe makes them fall over a little easier. I don't know, but they should account for people sleeving their cards in the components they make. Either way, you go to grab a hero, and half the time I knock one over, and a domino effect, two more fall over. Happens all the time, and it's really frustrating. It drives me absolutely nuts. I'm a little on the clumsy side. Maybe that's just something that I struggle with, but I really don't think that I'm the only one who struggles with that. It just seems like they should have been bigger, or at least sturdier, and they fall over all the time, at least when I'm playing, and it drives me nuts. So that is my first negative. Second negative is that there's no tiebreakers, so that if 2 people tie for first place, then you get to face the dragon together and you both win. To me, it kind of feels like a participation ribbon. Like you don't really win, but you kind of win. You don't really lose, and it's kind of the in between. Like, do you win? Do you lose? I wish there was some small. It doesn't have to be anything major, just some sort of tiebreaker in there. Something even as small as whoever had the largest number gem at that point wins the game. Anything would have been better. I don't like when you tie for first in games. Maybe I'm too competitive. I don't know. But I think the thought was that, it's such a high scoring game that it was going to be uncommon that people would actually tie for first. But I've actually had 2 games in a row that both times it was a tie for first. And I was in the tie for first place. And I hated it both times. It really, they should add something there. I really wish they had. You can add your own kind of variation on it, house rules or whatever you want, but it would have just been nice if something was included in the rulebook on that. And my last negative is the cards are kind of bland. They're kind of repetitive. You have a lot of the same cards, like the artwork on the cards is kind of similar on a lot of them, and it's kind of this colorless gray. It's kind of boring. I don't know. For me, it just didn't work. Kind of bland, but that's not a huge deal. A lot of people might even like the cards. I don't know. I personally, I feel like something they could have done a little more with the cards, with the artwork on the cards. But either way, this is a game that people who play a lot of games, there's a lot to love, but people who don't play a lot of games will be easy for them to pick up, and I think they'll like it too. It reminds me a lot of Seven Wonders. Obviously, it's a little different in Seven Wonders. You're building your city. In this, you're building your army, and different mechanics on how you build that, but in some ways, it feels really similar. So if you like Seven Wonders, you're probably going to like this. If you don't like Seven Wonders, well, then you still might like this. It is a good game, and I do definitely recommend it.
Father of Games rating 8.5.
And that's my thoughts on Nidavellir. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.